Welcome in to another episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Today I'm joined by Peninsula Volleyball coach Kevin Williams. Kevin, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, let's get started. Take us back to your athletic beginnings.
Yeah, I've been playing basketball since I was 6. And just was primarily a basketball athlete. And when I got to North, Lawrence Hom was always trying to get me to play volleyball as a freshman and sophomore. And I always just want to kind of focus on basketball. I had aspirations of being, athlete of the year. And I knew I was lucky enough to be a pretty good athlete and I probably could play other sports. But I didn't want to play football or anything like that for injury reasons and stuff. And it would end up being between track and volleyball. And, my basketball coach, Bill Atkinson, said, volleyball help your basketball skills. And that's all he had to say. So, yeah, I ended up my junior year, I made the JV team. I still remember to this day, my first practice, I just took the volleyball and dunked it. But I am extremely competitive and I love a challenge. So I work really hard at it. And, by halfway through the season, I go to Lawrence and I'm like, man, can I play on varsity? And he thought about it and I started practicing. I think I did 2 practices with varsity. And next, it moves really fast. I'm lucky to win a lot early in my career and just stay healthy and just be blessed, to be able to play the sport because I have totally fell in love with it.
How tall were you in high school?
At that point, I probably was about 6'4", 6'5", and I finished out at that 6'6", once I got to El Camino.
You're
So
6'6" now?
yeah, I'm 6'6" now. Yep. I was lucky. I had pretty good vert already. I was thinking of probably jumping about 32 in high school, but that was definitely something I worked on. So I got that up to a 40. And that makes it makes the game a little bit easier when you're 6'6" and you can jump 40 inches.
You attend North, you graduate in 95. How would you describe your time as a Saxon student athlete?
Oh, it was amazing. I feel so blessed. It's something I say to my parents all the time. I grew up in Inglewood, so I was supposed to go to either Morningside or Inglewood. Well, neither one of those schools have a volleyball program at that point, and I grew up playing club basketball with Paul Pierce. So I would have been doing something like that. But, my parents were trying to give me a different opportunity. And I'm so blessed that they took the time to get me in that school because it was hard. My parents sent me out of school I didn't start there till 3 months into school because they just sent me out until they got the permit. So it was worth it. I love the experience. I still probably got quite a few friends from the school that I still hang out with to this day. Now we're all older with our own kids. And like I said, it was a blessing just to be exposed to a different culture that's not similar to like growing up in Inglewood.
After North, your ventures take you to El Camino, Golden West, and then Cal State Long Beach. How would you describe your journey following high school?
I still got the same thing. I feel like my volleyball career, I've been so blessed. Like everything kind of worked out. I played the first year at El Camino, then I played with a lot of my club teammates. The next year I redshirted, just because I didn't think I was where I needed to be, and then the following year, when it came time that summer, about 8 of us switched schools to go to Golden West. And those guys called me up the day before they were closing registration. And I remember just calling my dad at work and telling him that. And he took the day off and came and picked me up and took me to Golden West and got me in. And I got the opportunity to play with Scott Lane and Casey Jennings was my setter. So I got to play with some pretty good studs. And it was a good opportunity because a lot of times the teams I played on, I was probably one of the better players, the top of it. And I went there and I wasn't. They put me on the second team to start. I had to really earn it, but that made my game get to such a whole nother level. And that was probably the catalyst was going to Golden West with playing for Coach Daly to help me facilitate getting to Long Beach State.
After college, you played professional basketball in Italy from 2000 to 2003, and then you play on the AVP tour from 2003 to 2007. How would you describe those experiences?
At that point, I was already a volleyball player at heart, but God gave me some good talent in this body, so I was able to make a team overseas, and same thing. It was another challenge. So when I got there, I didn't play, and then I was on a team where there was only one person on the team shorter than me. And I hadn't played point guard since club as a sophomore. So it was something I had to really work at and get better at. But any athlete doesn't like to sit on the bench. And I couldn't bite that bullet. So I worked my tail off and did that. I got to the point where I was in the rotation, in that 7-8 man rotation. And yeah, it was just a really good experience, just get to travel the world and just kind of find out who as a person and grow up a little bit, and then when I would come back, it would, off season for overseas is during the summer. And then I would play. I would come and get back with my volleyball buddies and play beach. And I played with Jason Voorhees, and he was my best friend. He was on my club team. He was with me at El Camino. And, he befriended me. And he is one of the best players from the South Bay. And he helped me hone my skills for sure.
Do you still speak Italian?
No, thank goodness they had interpreters for you. Yeah, not a son. Be honest with you, that team was it was mixed bag. It was just a whole bunch of people from everywhere. They tried a whole bunch of people out all over the world, and yeah, and I think we probably had good 10 interpreters from all the different people that spoke different languages and stuff. So yeah, it wasn't something I had to really invest in. And I'll be honest with you, I was just really trying to focus on my game.
Playing in the AVP, playing in Italy, where are some of the most memorable places you've played, either basketball or volleyball?
It was awesome to kind of play volleyball there, and it's man made, so like the sand the surface is a little bit different and stuff. So it plays like indoor. To get it's so hard and tough, so you get off the ground a lot. So it was just so much fun to play that sport, but at the speed of an indoor player. And then basketball wise, I'll be honest with you, it was such a whirlwind. Like you play minimum 2 games a week, and you practice 3 days a week. So it was so fast. You really only got one day off, and any competitive person, that one day off, you're working on your game, trying to get better than somebody else. So it was just, I was very homesick. That's why I stopped playing. I wanted to get back home and be with my parents, and at that point, girlfriend and yeah, and I wanted to play volleyball. To be honest with you, like I was doing it because it was the opportunity I couldn't pass up.
In 97, you begin coaching the Palos Verdes Volleyball Club. What did you learn about coaching from that opportunity?
I think I was very young. I think it was like 18, 19 at that point. During that period, I was still trying to go to school, and I think that was more my focus. I wasn't. I've fallen into making this be a career because of opportunities. So I don't think I really looked at it like that yet. I just was trying to teach the kids the things that I've been taught because I've had such great people teach me. And excuse me, it was a very competitive club, so it was more about the girls having fun. That's actually how I ran into Kurt Barcelona because I was coaching his niece.
Now back to Kurt. I asked you to name a few mentors who've been instrumental to you as a coach, and you named Kurt along with Lawrence Hom and Bill Atkinson. What are some of the things you've learned from those three?
Oh, man, a lot. Sorry, those guys would be a lot to me. Anyway, Kurt, overall, he took me as a family, and he's giving me an opportunity to coach here. And I'm sorry,
You have nothing to apologize for.
but like he's just a great man. And when it comes to coaching volleyball, man, he is what I hope to become. He's so technical, and I think that's what I've learned the most. I'm gonna outcoach you in the gym, not there in the game. I'm ready. My team is prepared, and that's probably the biggest thing from him. Lawrence, he introduced me to something that came my career, and Mr. Atkinson, I came to North because of him. And he was the one that said, Lawrence is going to help you out. So it kind of, that was just the process, Atkinson to Mr. Hom. And then from him, I got the opportunity to, meet up with Kurt. And, I'll be honest with you, before I started here, I tried to get the job at North and didn't get that one. And then I came up here, and this is now my home, and I'm just so blessed. I love this community. I love my players, the families. Um, there's always ups and downs. I think every coach knows that. We never can keep everybody happy. And I think that's the hardest part to deal with as a coach, especially if you're a person like me. I'm a perfectionist. I have to be right, and not to a fault. But you want to keep people happy, and I think that's. I'm trying to give people the experience that I got. I'm getting choked up because sports has been a lot to me.
Let's go into the competitive element of volleyball at Peninsula. You're consistently playing against teams that are top in the Southern California area: Maricosta, Redondo, and Palos Verdes. What do you take away from those matches, and how do they prepare you for the postseason in the chances that you're able to make a postseason berth?
You know what? It has actually helped a ton. I think that's why I've have the volleyball IQ I have because I played the elite, and as a school, it's hard just to come in third. In our league, I mean, like in persistent, like the year we won CIF in 2019, we came in, no, we didn't even, we got to at large that year. And that's how hard it was. I mean, we only lost 7 games, I think, that season. She had held, but 6 of them were to those 3 teams. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing. It really prepares you to be ready for anything and to make you practice it. And I think that's what helps you as a coach when you have to learn how to teach your players to be prepared for those type of things, even though they might not be those players. It makes you work at your craft quite a bit, and then like in particular with this team, because we're so good and playing those teams, it's making us be ready for these type of challenges we've had. These 2 teams that we beat in the first round and the second round, they were very good teams, and we're just we're gritty, and we are very we're very flexible with each other. I think this is something I'm learning as I've gotten older. I listen to my players a lot, and I think that's something that coaches, as we get more mature and older, I think the old school way was just my way is the highway and that's it. But that's truly not the way to do it now. No, you better listen to your players because they have information, they have knowledge. They're actually the one helping continue you to get better. And I think that's probably been the best part about, especially like my big 3 with Drake and Robert and Kyle. They have taught me to listen to them. They have taught me to make sure when I come into the next season, I have drills that challenge them because they're not easily challenged. And that's always been good for me and our players as well.
We're going to get back to that game against Santa Margarita after this question because I want you to take me back to 2019. You helped lead the boys program to a CIF title, and you were also named the CIF Coach of the Year. Let's go back down memory lane, Kevin.
Yeah, that man, it was such, I was blessed with the opportunity to have the number one and number five recruit in the country on one team. So that makes it easier. But with those two guys, the other 15 were all players that didn't play club. And so we definitely had to do our part as a coaching staff to come up with something that worked for us. Yeah, I know for me, I went into that one with just a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to prove something, and but when I talked to like my mentors, I talked to Lawrence, he's like, just don't mess it up. So it's it was so much fun, and like I was so close to that team, just like I am this one. Shoot, my routine right now is the routine I had for that year. I'm listening to the same songs that me and that team listened to, and but like I say, Clark is a phenomenal player. He graduated as number one player in the country. He had a great career at Long Beach State, and yeah, we were tough to handle. We got two guys that at my height at 6'6", 6'5", and yeah, we did something really different. I mean, literally every time we would play a match, especially during the playoff run, they would have to stop it because our lineup was so unique that the rest couldn't keep up with it. And so we thought out the box. I think that's the big difference. It's a similar kind of thing that we're doing here with this team. We got a lot of different things we can do, and that keeps everybody off guard. But back to that 2019 season, yeah, we were just we caught a rhythm really late, and we changed our lineup. We got our setter. We had a setter that was out here that broke his thumb, so we probably got him maybe the last 3 or 4 games of league. So if anybody had scouted us, we didn't have him. And I think that was probably the biggest catalyst we had. He was left-handed. So we were doing all this like tricky, like on one, and he would just rip it. And it's hard to stop somebody like that when you're trying to stop a Keenan Clark. And so it just, we were just a really good team. All those guys kind of like this team. All those guys that played with each other, like been around each other since they were like, in third, fourth grade. And you'd be surprised what you can do when you're really like a family. And I think that's been the basis of my whole building of this program. We're family. We work hard for each other. Yeah, we're gonna get upset. We might say things, but we got to hash it out, talk it out, and that really worked for us that year, and it's working again now.
Let's go back to Wednesday. The boys won a 5-game thriller against Santa Margarita. You're trailing 2 games to 1. The fourth game goes 60 points in one game, and then we go to a fifth. Walk me back through your emotions in that game.
Man, well, we came out really sluggish in that first set. Kind of been our MO a little bit this year. So we as a staff, we were really disappointed in that. We get places early. We're in the gym 3 hours before our game time. So we're ready. But it's we just got off to a slow start, and so we lost that first one, and then we got the second one, and to be honest with you, we should have won the third one, but we gave away a 5 point lead. It was 23 to 18,
23 to
something like
18, yeah.
that. Yep. And so we gave that game away, and we kind of looked a little defeated. But it's just like, come on. The one thing about having some experience, it's gonna be hard. Nobody's gonna give it to us, And I've brought to mention this about even the Boston game. I just start talking about family, and it's us. We're the better team. We're the better group. It's not them, And it's okay. They got us. We made some mistakes. We can make up for that, And we kind of going, and my big three, they got going a little bit better in that fourth set, and yeah, I think all of us were using every little trick or little thing in our back pocket. The other coach as well, the other team, and I think we just had the ball kind of bounce our way. The refing was questionable, but anybody who's been part of sports a long time, that is the part of the game. And to be honest with you, anybody who's won a championship, you need a little luck on your side, and that kind of goes with it too. And yeah, it just kind of felt our way, and So we get through that fourth one, and then we get into that fifth, and we debated change, but same thing. I talked to Kurt, and then I was talking to the boys, and it was kind of similar. When we got to this fifth set, the Boston game, Kurt, we were talking about it. He just stands up and says, "You better figure it out," and steps away from me. So, so it kind of that moment kind of came to the moment again, in that fifth set, and yeah, you got to trust your team. You got to trust your players, and that's what I did. I did my part. I took my last time out at 13-9. It's a little bit later than I would normally, but scripted 2 plays, got those 2 points. Then Drake got a block, so we got 3 in a row. Now we're right there, and it was close. And then they tied it up. They got tight. They got real tight. Our crowd's behind us, and it's loud. The gym is shaking. And yeah, to be honest with you, the play that we won the game on, they had to made a mistake like that the whole match.
That
So
was their second time they made that mistake in that game.
So it's it was happening for me because I know we train our kids. We talk about all the time mental toughness, being prepared, communication, and I know they hate me for it sometimes. All the push-ups, did all the things I make them do for that, but it's to be strong in that moment, and we were. So it was. I'll be honest with you. I've lost that game 99% of the time we're in that situation, but it was our day.
You got Drake making digs. You've got Kyle winning a joust. You've got that game. That was a lot of fun to watch. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You've been coaching at Peninsula since 2013 and with the Beach Cities Volleyball Club for 23 years. You also have 3 children, a very beautiful family. But how tough is it for you to balance working, coaching, and a family life as well?
Man, I think the balance is my number one job is being a dad. And yeah, anybody who wants to be good at anything, sometimes you don't sleep a lot. But, it's my family's my motivation. I either have my lucky chain that I have that's my kids, or on game day, I have my socks with my kids' faces on that my players know I always wear for game days. And yeah, I give everybody and my players, what I would hope that somebody would give to my kids, and I know my coaches gave to me. And I think that the balance is tough. I'm so blessed to have Antoinette, and she is. That's why I knew she was the one, because she was willing to get behind me and believe in me. And I remember telling her when I first met her, I'm like, I don't want to leave, because I had an opportunity to try to coach overseas. I'm like, I don't want to leave Peninsula. I'm not ready yet. I got a lot to learn. I want to learn from Kurt, and I want to stay there. And to be honest with you, at that point, I would have never thought about actually truly taking this program over. But yeah, I just stuck with it, and trained really hard, and just trying to manage all that. My boss at B Cities, he is very supportive. It can be hard because they're 2 different entities. Working here at the school is completely separated from coaching club. But I love club because it's where you work on your skill set, and your coaching. And I coach 3 teams a year, and I've been probably doing that for probably 18 to 19 years. So it's my experience level is pretty high in its matches, how many matches and stuff that I had under me. So I think that's what truly shows. Even like in this last game, everybody just kind of laughs at me. They're like, "You really didn't get up. You just sat there." And the other coach is going crazy. I'm like, "No, I don't coach like that, because I used to be pretty loud and stand up, but it's that's too up and down. I'm trying to teach my players how to be consistent, and it starts with the leader. That's me, and I have to be calm. So working through all that stuff has just been a challenge, and yeah, I'm hoping my oldest son is playing club volleyball now, and he is starting at 9, which is quite a big jump in comparison, like his dad at 16. So it's just awesome. I think anybody that's part of the volleyball community knows how much it goes with you. You can be 50, you still playing tournaments. Little kids are playing out there at the beach. You can do it anywhere, and so I think that's what's so good. Life and volleyball, and trying to make all that coincide, it's easier. It's a lot different than other sports.
I'm a fan. That we'll wrap up the hard hitting questions of this episode. We are going to transfer into rapid fire. 5 questions, your answers, I don't argue, I may laugh at. All right, here we go. Mr. Basketball fan, your all time NBA starting 5.
Ooh, man, that's a good one. Well, first of all, I had to start with my favorite player, Michael Jordan. That's just a no-brainer right there. And then, man, I'll be honest with you, I used to not be a big fan of Kobe, but when I start to learn about him and his mentality, I love him. And I think that it might rub off on you wrong, but you have to be. You want to be great, and you want to be special. You got to run people over, and I think that's just kind of what that is. So got to put him on there, and LeBron for sure. And I grew up at the time, like I love Kareem. I'll probably make him be my 4. And you got to just show the big man. I love Shaq. Nothing against Wilt. I love Wilt too, but nobody was as unstoppable as Shaq. And I think that's why he has to make that top 5 for me.
One NBA franchise has to go.
Oh man, that's wow, man. See, so somebody's gonna hate me because if I answer this question. No, shoot, man, I don't know. I think like Toronto. I probably have to go with those dudes because I just think it. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a big fan of that team.
Your favorite sports movie?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. I think, oh man, maybe Rudy. I think that's something I watched a lot back in the day.
There we go. A movie is being made about your life. Who plays Kevin Williams?
It's funny. I'm gonna have to pull an actor out that's probably a lot of people don't know, but it'd probably be my cousin. He's a comedian, but he is a very strong actor, and James Davis, because he just he has my mannerisms. He's definitely we're family.
Your go-to South Bay eatery and your favorite dish there?
I think this is funny. Shoot, it probably. I'm not gonna lie. I've been up here at the hill. I do frequent Red Onion, and I get fajitas. I be honest, every time I walk in that place, I literally sit down, and everything that my family orders, including myself, usually comes to the table without us even asking for it. So it's just it's a good feeling.
I remember there being a lot of red onions in the area, but every time I do go to that one, it does feel like I'm a child again at the one in Lawndale.
Mm-hmm. I used to go that one too. Yep.
There we go. Kevin, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you, and best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we get to see you again later.
Yes, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow along and share these episodes with your family and friends. Until the next episode, South Bay Sports Guy signing off. Have a great day.